Hello everyone and welcome to Brilliance online edu classes. Today I am here with a very interesting story from the textbook of class 12th English Vistas. The name of the story is Evans Tries an O-Level, written by Colin Dexter. So children, let us see the theme of the story. So the theme of the story is power of wit and intelligence. So children, it is conveying that in any situation, if you utilize your power of intelligence, if you handle the situation with wit, presence of mind, then no situation is that grim that can entrap you. So with the power of intelligence, you can overcome any situation. The plot of the story is the Oscar prison. You can see the image. This is the image of Oxford prison. It is said that it was actually a castle before, which was later converted into a prison. And this is said to be one of the very safe prison from where to run away or escape is quite next to impossible, the way it is built, right? So this is the plot where the events are happening. Now let us start with the story. So as you can see, there is a prison here. So the story is about a character. The name of the character is James Roderick Evans. Right? So James Roderick Evans was a prisoner who was there, who was kept in the Oxford prison. He was so very intelligent that he had escaped from prison thrice, and that's why he was called as Evans the Break. Right? He was not a very violent sort of criminal who had murdered somebody or like something like that. No, he was not a violent criminal. He used to steal, he used to rob, that was a different thing, but he has never killed or murdered anyone. So definitely his personality was also not at all violent. Okay. Now suddenly this fellow, now as I told you, to escape from Oxford prison is next to impossible, and this time he was kept in Oxford prison. So suddenly one day he called the prison officer and he told that he wants to seek education. So he wants to appear for the O-level examination in the German language. Okay. Now education is something that we all know that it can change a person. It can bring a transformation in the thought and behavior of a person. So thinking that, governor, he had a word with the Board of Education and they agreed, and all the arrangements that was made. Okay. Now on the day of exam, this fellow, he wore a filthy red and white hat, as it brought him luck. So on the day of exam, before the exams, the day he decided and the day he got the permission, he started taking the German classes. So a teacher used to come and he started taking the German classes. And on that particular day in the morning, he wore a very filthy, dirty sort of red and white hat. And when the prison officer asks that why have you put on this hat, he says that it's very lucky, it's a lucky charm for me, and so I want to put on. And as I told you, that this fellow was not a violent person, and he was a good soft spoken person, and that is the reason the prison officers also didn't have that bitterness for this man. So they thought that maybe he is appearing for an exam, so let it be if it brings good luck for him. Okay. Then other arrangements were made. Now what was those examination arrangements that was made? So in the cell, the razors and nail scissors, all those things which were there with him, that was removed. So the razors and nail scissors were removed. After that, the tables and chairs were placed. Okay. There were two officers in the prison. One was the senior officer, Officer Stephens, and the other one was junior prison officer, Mr. Jackson. So they visited the prison to check out whether everything is right or not. They saw the arrangement of the table chair. They took the sharp things from him, from Ivan, so that he cannot hurt the invigilator. Now the question is, who was the invigilator? Nobody was ready to invigilate and spend 2 to 3 hours with a criminal. So finally a priest, right, a priest, a religious person, Reverend Stuart McCleary, he agreed to become the invigilator. Okay, so he came with a brown suitcase, a semi-rubber ring which he said he needed for hemorrhoids. Now when the invigilator came, he was carrying a brown suitcase. So when the suitcase was checked, there was a paper knife also in it, which the prison officers took out, because they said that that can be dangerous for him only, because Evans basically he is a criminal, and to escape he might injure or he can do harm to the invigilator. So that was removed. Now one very unusual thing that was kept in the suitcase was a semi-rubber ring, right, a rubber ring which was filled with some sort of fluid. And when the officer asked that why is it so, so the invigilator said that he was having a disease called hemorrhoid, because of which he cannot sit on the stiff surface for very long. So that is being suggested for his ailment. Okay, so these arrangements were made for the exam, right? Then the exam begins, and outside the cell, because Ivan said that if you sit or if you stand on my head, I won't be able to write, I'll get very nervous. So outside the cell, the prison officers were taking care, and they were ensuring that the things go well without any problem. Okay, so the exam begins, and what the governor is doing, there was a microphone which was placed there in the room, so that whatever is the discussion that can be and whatever is happening around, at least the governor will understand a little that what is happening there. Okay, so the exam began, and McCleary gave instructions regarding the index number, the center number. Then there were certain correction slips that came. Okay, so all those things were, those instructions were given by the invigilator. Now whenever the prison officer would just look inside to see what Evans is doing, whether everything is okay or not, he would see that Evans would keep his pen between his lips, and he would stare towards the door as if he is trying to recollect the answer. Okay. After some time, Evans requested for a blanket. He said, I want a blanket. Okay, I am feeling cold. So it was also given, right? So finally, in between there were calls from the board of examination regarding certain corrections. So those corrections were also made in the question paper, right? So all those things happened. The exam went smooth. Then after the exam, there was a call from the governor, and the prison officer Stephens was instructed that he should leave McCleary to the main gate as he is moving out. So Stephens he accompanied. Okay. While going back, Stephens felt that the accent of McCleary was a little different. Okay, it was a little Scottish accent. Okay. And it was not that Scottish when he came, but now he felt that the accent was a little more Scottish. And he also felt that the fellow seemed a little slimmer. He felt that maybe because he was anticipating that something fishy is going to happen. So he thought, but rest everything seemed to be normal. So he just went ahead and he bid farewell to McCleary to the main gates. Okay. After that, Stephens was actually going to have a cup of coffee, but before that he just felt like that, let me look inside the cell, that what Evans is doing. So with that curiosity and just to make sure everything is okay, he peeped inside. Okay, and when he peeped inside, what he saw? He saw that McCleary, with that same sort of long coat and all, he is tied inside, right, on a chair, and he is injured. There is blood smeared on the face, right. So when he saw that there is a man who is completely injured with blood smeared and all, he immediately came to the conclusion that definitely Evans has injured McCleary and has tied him here, and he himself has run away. Okay. So this was the immediate conclusion that he came up to. Okay. So when he peeped through keyhole, he found McCleary sprawled in chair. McCleary claimed to know where Evans has gone. So McCleary said that when everybody was suggesting McCleary that let us send you to the hospital, McCleary said, no, I know where Evans has gone, so let us chase him. Stephens, he found a photocopied sheet very beautifully pasted over the last page of the question paper. Right, so maybe it was some clue that was given to the prisoner that how he has to escape and all. Governor also came, he was puzzled, he started looking here and there, he started seeing the things and all. Okay. Then he called at the hospital where McCleary was supposed to reach after chasing Evans. Evans was not caught. So after that it was said that McCleary had called an ambulance and he had gone to the hospital. So governor called the hospital and asked if at all McCleary has reached there. And surprisingly he was told that no, there is no such person who has come to the hospital. And then governor, now see the battle of wit. Evans has shown his intelligence. Now governor, now he started gathering the clues one by one, and then he came to the conclusion that actually the real McCleary was the one who was found bound and gagged. Okay. Later revealed that it was not Evans who walked out, rather he was impersonating as McCleary who stayed in. So later the governor realized initially what was thought that it was McCleary who has been tied inside. But then governor understood that it was not McCleary who was tied inside, it was Evans only who tied himself, and afterwards see how beautifully he escaped pretending to be McCleary. Now the question is, who was that man then who moved out as McCleary? So that puzzle was also revealed when finally it was found that the real McCleary was not allowed to come at all. He was tied in his place itself, and it was the person from Evans' side who came as McCleary and to be the invigilator. So it was all planned. He was putting on two coats, and that is the reason he gave one coat to Evans to put it and be pretend to get injured and be there on the chair, and he left out with one coat only. That is the reason he seemed to be a little slimmer. Now from where that blood came on Evans' face, which they thought that it is McCleary and he is injured, so then you will have to remember that rubber ring which he said that he requires for hemorrhoid, but actually it was filled with pig's blood, and that blood was used to stage all these things. Okay, so this was the plan. Then after escaping from the prison, Evans, as planned, which the all the code messages were there in the roll number, in the index number, and the correction which was made over the phone. I told you no that there was a phone call from the Board of Education and there was a correction made. So that correction and all was all done by Evans' friends, and it was a clue that where he has to go. So he was expected to go to a hotel, right? The name of the hotel was Golden Lion. So he was expected to move to a hotel there. Okay, so Evans, as planned, he moved to the hotel, right? After moving to the hotel, he just moved out for some work. Now when he came back and he was collecting keys from the receptionist, okay, so after reaching Hotel Golden Lion, he collected his keys and he was shocked to see when he went to his room and he found that governor was already in the room. Okay. Then governor, he clarified all the questions, all the queries about how he escaped. So whatever was the mystery of the plan, governor clarified it. And Evans told that how the teacher who used to come to teach him, that teacher was also Evans' friend, and everything was staged. Right, the actual McCleary was tied by his friends. The one who came was also his friend. The call from the Board of Education was not from education office, it was from his friends. So everything he declared, right. On reaching at reception, now when governor said that okay fine, now you are arrested, so he pulled Evans with him. When Evans reached the reception, he winked at the receptionist, right? He smiled and he winked, and the receptionist also winked back. Okay, so he winked at the receptionist and the receptionist also winked back. Now the mystery is, what is the message through this wink, right? The message through this wink was that governor actually got so happy that he has defeated Evans and finally he is victorious, that he didn't take up notice of simple things. That is, after bringing him, a prison officer came with a van and Evans was handcuffed and Evans was pushed in the van. Okay. Now here the governor didn't check that who was that officer who came with the police van, right? He didn't check, because he just assumed and became happy that yes, I have caught him and he is trapped, right? But he should have been a little more vigilant about. So a prison officer came with a van. Now this was what was the message through that wink to the receptionist. So the moment he winked, receptionist understood and she gave a call to the friends of Evans who were already ready with a police van, and the fellow came disguised as a police and he came and he took Evans. Governor was happy, Evans is going back to the prison, but actually after taking the first right turn, Evans unlocked the handcuffs and all, and he told the driver to drive fast. The driver asked where to go, and the driver, he suggested the driver that let us go to Newbury, right? So the prison officer was Evans' own man, and the governor was fooled once again. And in the complete story, if you see why they got fooled again and again, because they didn't try to check the situation. Initially also, if you see, when Stephen saw a man injured and tied in the chair, immediately he came to the conclusion that this is McCleary who is tied here and Evans has escaped, wherein it was just the opposite, it was Evans himself who was there. Okay, so they came to a conclusion. After that, governor showed his intelligence. He actually could trace and trap Evans, but again he made a mistake, that again he became a little confident earlier than required. He thought that yes, this is a police and this is the van and he had sent and this is the result. Okay, so again coming back to the point of our theme. So the theme is that intelligence is very important, and the governor was fooled again because he got a little confident before time. Okay, so what is the message conveyed? The message conveyed is, don't panic in any untoward situation. You just see how Evans took up the thing so coolly. He didn't panic. Even when he saw the governor, it was okay. He had kept a backup ready and he did it also. Okay. Then understanding the psychology helps to overcome any situation. See how beautifully Evans had planned. every planning was done on the minute points of human psychology, that when we see a situation, immediately we come to a conclusion without actually checking the details of the situation. Okay, and think before reacting to a particular situation. So whenever we are encountering a situation, we should think properly and then we should react. Okay, so what is the tagline for the story? Between crime and punishment, it is mainly a battle of wits. So if you see that when you talk about the law and the criminal, what it is actually nothing but a battle of intelligence. If a criminal is very intelligent and he can eradicate all the loopholes, all the clues and all, then he is the winner. If he gives the slightest clue to law, he gets trapped. So it's all about a battle of wits. Okay. So there are a lot of delicate, intricate details in the story. It's a very lengthy story. If you will read the lesson, it's around 26-27 page story, but these points are the crux of it. And now after that, when you will read the lesson once again, then you will be able to relate all the points together. I'll tell you the most frequently asked question is, how did Evans outwit the jail authorities? Outwit means he proved himself to be smarter. So if you see this, it would be actually a summary of the entire events that happened in the story. Okay, so children, read the lesson carefully now and try to mention all the important points which you find from the lesson. Thank you everyone.